What a season we've lived through, and it's not quite over yet. I'm sure we can all agree that no matter what our status, our backgrounds, or our place in life is, no one is immune from suffering and loss. This past year, I've experienced, and maybe you have too, family, friends, and churches going through some of the most challenging situations imaginable. Lost lives, lost health, lost homes, lost jobs, lost friendships. Today, I have a cousin in Colorado. She's 1 year older than I am. She's on a ventilator in ICU fighting for her life. Over this past year, Rich and I have had family members and close friends diagnosed and going through cancer treatment. Now, as they've gone through their treatment, it's been hard during this time because through some of their treatment and hospitalizations, they just have to be completely alone because of the COVID protocols. We had 2 friends pass this past year from heart attacks, and because of the shutdowns and the protocols, weren't able to have big funerals or memorial celebrations of life. There is so much going on. It seems that anxiety is the air we breathe. So people have asked me, how are you surviving this time? Well, on the most practical basis, I've been able to work solely from home since March. Technology has made it so that we can communicate, stay on course with our work, and stay connected to the region. Now, it's meant hundreds of hours on Zoom calls or FaceTime or other social media platforms. But I'm grateful for technology and for the people that help me with it, because I'm not good with it. So technology has become my friend during this time. I'm also very grateful for our family, our friends, and the churches we serve. I'm grateful for the team I work with at the Seattle School of Theology and Psychology and the Resilient Leader Project program. All of them have given Rich and I the space to work from home. Rich and I are both very high risk should we contact COVID. So we've been working from home since March. Now, being with Rich 24/7 has its own unique situational challenges. Actually, it's been really good for us. We've had our ups and downs like everyone because of the anxiety and the stress and all that's going on, but mostly this time we've been able to just reflect, pray, and really be with the Lord and one another, and it's actually been sweet. I think because we've been together 24/7, in just a few days we're celebrating our 24th wedding anniversary. We should actually be able to double that and say we've been married 48 years. I couldn't do this work and be in this time without the Northwest Regional team. They each have had their own struggles in their own personal lives and families, but they continue to serve their churches and the churches in our region in most heroic ways. So I'm so grateful for them. You know, I find peace and hold on to hope by a few practices. The practice of cultivating gratitude is the biggest. Well, the second biggest. I'll tell you the biggest in a moment. Cultivating gratitude, mainly I do that through a spiritual practice called the Examine. You can actually look up an Ignatian practice called the Examine, and it walks you through being able to invite the Spirit to walk through your day with you, to see the movement and presence of God in our lives. That's the most basic thing that it does for me. I usually do it in the morning, and I do it for the past 24 hours, and that's how I start my day. So cultivating gratitude through doing the exercise of Examine. Another way that I find peace and hold on to hope is by remembering what God has done, God's faithfulness. I have walked through the valley of shadow of death several times in my life. And each time God has been with me. God has walked right through it with me. And so remembering every single time that I've gone through struggling and suffering and looking at how God was with me, even if in the moment I couldn't sense it, but once I got through it, I could look back and see the ways that God was moving and forming me in those times. So remembering what God has done. Another way I find peace and hold on to hope is in this season, I have been praying without ceasing. So prayers of gratitude every single day, so much gratitude for the gifts of God. But also one of my practices is to color when things are stressful. So through this time, I've been coloring again a lot. And while I color, I have a heart posture and a brain posture of praying. And what I have found is I go into very deep intercession, especially for the health needs of people that I love, people that are in life and death situations. So praying without ceasing, just having a posture of my heart and my mind and my thoughts of listening for the Spirit, responding, asking God to grace me to be able to respond to the Spirit's promptings in my life. So praying without ceasing. Another way is to pray that the Holy Spirit would grace me, enable me to be gracious and to be kind during this time. We're all going through hard things. Everyone is having a hard time. And so sometimes the way that people respond or react is really because of what their situation is about. And so I really have been praying that God would give me the enablement to be gracious and kind, first to my own heart, to Rich, our kids, our family, our friends, and the people that we work with in the churches, but also with everyone. That is my prayer, that God would enable me during this time to be gracious and kind. Another way is by allowing my emotions to fully come to the surface. So whether it's anger, frustration, sadness, I cry every day, and it's not because I'm depressed. I cry and I feel like my tears are intercession for all of the lives that are being lost right now, so many every day. So allowing all of that to come to the surface, naming it, and then inviting the Lord to come and wash over my anger, my frustration, my grief, bringing comfort, bringing truth, and bringing healing. And the other way that I do that and express and bring all of that out is with a trusted therapist and a spiritual director. So having people in my life that I can be completely honest with to give me feedback about what God might be inviting me to be about during this time has been a way where I have been able to find peace and hold on to hope. I think one of the big ways that I find peace and hold on to hope is to always remember that my life is connected to the big story that God has been writing since the dawn of time and until we get to the final moment, the telos, the culmination of all of human history, when everything will be made right. That's the story I belong to. And what God is doing right now to work out renewing everything in heaven and in earth, that's the bigger story I belong to, that my life belongs to. And when I remember that, no matter what I'm going through, I know that God is working out a redemptive story even in my life for His purposes. So all these things that I've shared has helped me survive this time, but not only to survive this time, but to survive it with hope. Hope for my life, for our family, and for the future of the church. Jesus said this, "Very truly I tell you, unless a grain of wheat fall to the ground into the earth and dies, it remains just a single grain. But if it dies, it bears much fruit." I am full of hope because I know God to be the God who is all about writing redemptive stories. God is all about renewing the earth, the heavens and the earth right now. The Spirit is hovering over all of this chaos, starting in our own personal lives, our churches, our communities, our nation, and this world. The Spirit is hovering to bring new life out of this present chaos, out of our present struggle. And my prayer for each of us during this time and as we move through it and come out the other side is that we will have allowed God to form us in this time. Peace to you.